Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. I'm GetGoodGuy, and today I'm rounding out my class-based coverage of the Time to Kill or TTK patch with the Scout class. After this video, I'll be focusing on individual weapons more so, and perhaps a discussion about the arguments for and against the patch itself. If you haven't seen my coverage of the changes to the other classes yet, there'll be links in the description below. But back to the Scouts. Today's a little bit different to the other videos, as the Scouts essentially didn't really get altered in the patch, besides a few tweaks to specific weapons. The main one being the M1918 Experimental, which I plan to cover soon. But overall, the class is pretty much as it was prior to the patch. And this has caused a section of the Battlefield community to claim that the Scout class is now nerfed by comparison. They say it's now weak, useless, or nullified, and essentially that it's been dropped to the bottom of the meta. Some claim that the PTFO Scout is dead, and therefore Scouts just aren't going to be used, or we'll just see them camping at the edge of the map. So is this true? Well, I decided to have a play around and form my own opinion. I figured the best way to do this would be to select the weapon I'm most comfortable with and employ my most effective Scout playstyle. This way I can see what truly feels different and be able to make a direct comparison with how I performed before the TTK patch. So I threw on my SMLE marksman and got to work, both at range and up close and personal on the objectives. And here's the disclaimer, people, this means that this video will be heavily reliant upon my opinion rather than straight fact. There will obviously be some facts or commonly understood themes involved, but they'll be interwoven into my opinion. So you can of course disagree, just try not to get all hateful in the comment section, it's just a game after all, alright? So, my opinion. And straight off the bat, yes, it now is more difficult to play as a Scout. Obviously this is going to be the case if the optimal time to kill of the other classes has received a buff. At close range, you'll die more quickly now, so it's harder to acquire your target in time to kill them, as well as it now being harder to switch to your sidearm to land the killing blow if you manage to hit someone up close with your primary weapon. But, isn't this kind of what you should expect? Is it particularly advisable to run into a CQC situation with a Scout rifle? I would say generally no. I do it all the time, but I know it isn't the optimal decision when I could be using an MP18 or whatever. That being said, I do think you should be able to do it and have a chance at surviving, as it is a game after all and it's supposed to be fun. And I feel like you do still have a chance of doing well with a Scout, whatever your playstyle may be. And this is the important part. If you're not able to play with a Scout effectively at close quarters, then you have to accept that you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. The flip side would be if assault players complain that they couldn't consistently pick you off on a mountain across the map. Realistically, it's supposed to be hard for Scouts to contest close quarters fights, because whilst games do need to be fun, they do also need at least some form of balancing, otherwise you just get pure chaos. The amount of people that complain about snipers in Call of Duty is astronomical. This is because snipers in COD are far easier to use than in Battlefield. Quickscoping is extremely prevalent and it's pretty much ingrained in the game's identity at this point, so it's probably not going to disappear anytime soon. And as well as the quickscoping in COD, there's also the fact that a lot more of the body is a one-shot kill with a sniper rifle and range doesn't seem to matter. If you then bring anything like that level of effectiveness to Battlefield, then the community would absolutely riot. You may think you want more powerful Scouts, but how are you going to buff them without causing that problem? The counter argument would be that many Scouts will now sit at the edge of the map and potentially not provide a whole lot of value to the team. And you may well be right, at least sometimes. But this may also be a necessary evil. And in time, I'm sure we can all adjust to being aware of people doing this on the enemy team and punish them for it. As for people on your team that do it, that's kinda just part of gaming, I'm afraid. Some people camp, that's what they enjoy. You may not, but there's little that you can do about it. But on the positive side of things, it's likely that some people that used to play Scout will now switch to another class and be a whole lot more effective for the team. At least we can hope so. Either way, perhaps we're heading away from the main point here, because I feel that overall, the Scout class isn't suddenly bad now. In fact, I still really enjoy it and find it possible to play with it at long, medium, and short range. Yes, there's a level of individual ability involved there, but that's the case for doing almost anything in almost any game. If you want to be able to use the Scout to a high level, then you've got to work at it. Don't give up because it just got a little bit harder now. Employ the tactics that work and learn to master them. Don't forget that at close range you do have the ability to put on a spotting flare, which can give you a big advantage. There's also no reason for you to not rely on your sidearm if you need to, because the main point here is that the way I've played the Scout class on this game at times clearly wasn't how DICE or any decent developer would intend for it to be used, at least not on a game like Battlefield. So now I need to adapt somewhat, and that's cool with me. But that's a lot of talk about short range, because there are some people complaining that medics and support players are able to pick you off too easily now. Personally, although it may be easier for them than before, you still have a very clear strong advantage over them if you're decent with a Scout rifle. My tips would be, don't be stationary for too long, don't lie down somewhere in the open, and try to increase the speed at which you acquire and hit the target. You can can only do that through practice. If you want to be good at it enough, then you'll work it out. If you used to be able to play with a scout at close quarters and now you can't, then you likely still had a lot you could improve upon. So get to it. I personally have a decent amount of sniping videos on this channel if you'd like to look for them, and I'll link to my full sniping guide in the description specifically if you're really interested in it. But overall, those are my thoughts. So what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Are you struggling with the scout, or have you adjusted nicely? Now we need to quickly head over to the Board of Awesome to show our respect to the fantastic individuals who choose to support the channel on Patreon. They donate purely because they want help to keep the channel going, and I salute all of them for that. If you want to join them on the Board of Awesome, then the link to the Patreon page will be in the description, where you can donate to the channel for as little as $1 a month if you so wish. If not, then don't worry about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to like, favorite, and subscribe. I'm GetGoodGuy, and I'll see you next time. Laters.